Hi guys. We decided it would be a good idea to talk about a recent purchase that John and Morgan just had on a home, and kind of walk you through things that people think in their heads, like you and I were just talking about that aren't necessarily true about purchasing a home.
Right.
So, but let's start off with, I'm Stacy Zampa from Compass Real Estate. This is Morgan and John of Taco Daddy and Layla Rose, famous. And how we met was about 2 years ago during COVID. You guys were doing the Takeout Daddy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And supporting all small businesses, so not your own small business. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, how did that come up? Like,
Sure. I mean, we're in Stanford. We're in I don't know. We're a blue collar city, and a lot of the neighboring towns are doing great with takeout all night. Our revenue dropped to 5% of what we were doing prior to the lockdown, and so we kind of said, if we can't actually make money during this, let's take the opportunity to use our platform and our following to kind of put some eyeballs on Stanford. And so we tried to order exclusively, with a couple of exceptions, from Stanford restaurants, and in the process we certainly made a lot of friends with a lot of the local business owners, and actually found some new favorite places to go to. And at the same time, we were kind of just engaging with people who were doing the exact same thing that we were doing, which is sitting on our couch, watching Netflix,
Right.
eating takeout.
And if you were like us,
and you were pregnant.
I was
And you were
pregnant.
pregnant.
I was pregnant. We watched all of Netflix, so we needed something else to do for sure. But yeah, by the time
we had a newborn.
But I was gonna say, by the time we started doing Takeout Daddy, Maverick was just a few weeks old because he was born the week before everything shut down, the lockdown.
Oh.
And there was no getting out for walks with the baby, so we did this instead, and it kept our creative brain working, it kept our restaurant brain working, and it certainly helped us develop relationships within Stanford that we still have today, and you ended up being one of them.
Yes.
as well.
And what I thought about it immediately was making lemonade out of lemons, right? Like, we didn't know when it was going to be over. You guys weren't getting an income. You had just bought an incredibly large space to help serve people, and you weren't going to be able to utilize it. So super scary. But out of that, you made the lemonade, and I'll never forget the day John called me and said, "Okay, I found a house, and I'm ready to buy it, but I don't know how."
Right.
We love this house. We need you to come take a look at it. Definitely, I think it was more like the mindset of it's totally out of reach as far as financials. We're not ready. We're not, we're in a rental. I think you had a baby in a closet, I want to say, right? I don't want to we don't, not for being arrested, but
So
it's a walk-in closet.
yeah, it was a walk-in closet. His whole crib fit in there with room to spare. But yeah, I mean, we had a growing family, 3 kids, a dog, and then obviously us. And it was just, there was no peace in that space. There was no space in that space. So I think for us, when we started looking for houses, your brain goes one of two ways. It's, if you don't know the process and you haven't gone through the process, it's kind of like you think you know what you're getting into, or you have no clue. And we certainly had no clue, so we needed help. And especially in our particular circumstance, as new business owners coming off a really tough year, and credit wasn't great, and we didn't have a lot of on-hand capital, so it was an intimidating process at first, for sure.
Yeah, and I think one of those things about it is that you're not just buying a house, but you hit everything. You're not just buying a house. You just had a new baby. You have a family. You have a dog. You have a business. You have 2 businesses, and you're a mom and a wife, right? So it's
Right.
it's you want it. You want the outcome to be, you want to be in this home, but the A to Z, getting there without the turbulence, because it's really it's probably one of the biggest things you'll ever buy, right?
Right.
In your life, the most amount of money you'll ever spend. and there's just so many directions to go. So I think you also hit on the fact that like you don't have to have the best credit, and I think one of the things for you, which is so much of America, you had college debt still. So it's not even like it was your fault. Like you came out of college and you're holding that debt, and so your ratios were off.
Certainly. And I actually didn't really, I was one of, it's almost embarrassing to say now, but you just don't know. And like growing up, going through school, talking with my parents, like credit was never something that we even talked about, and we didn't talk about the power of credit ever. And so in my mind, I was kind of like, let's avoid getting bad credit. Let me never have a credit card.
Yeah. See,
and
that was,
And then when I had some of these outstanding student loan bills, which most people have because student loans are ridiculous, there's nothing to outweigh it if you don't have good credit. So my credit was really bad, and without being able to pay cash for a house, which, I mean, if that's you, congrats, but it wasn't us. It just felt like there weren't very many options until we started talking to you.
right. And then there's the other like misconception that how long is it going to take, to fix your credit? Because
Right.
it's pretty fixable, and it's pretty fixable quickly,
It was
right? Like for
fixable
you,
quickly.
like you had to like open up some credit cards.
Right.
Typically you want to keep your debt below a third, right? So
Right.
if your credit card is 900, you want to have 300 on that credit card.
Right.
And you want to consistently have that. So you don't want no credit, you want some credit.
Right.
And then the house that you found, we weren't ready yet. Like you found this house, you love this house, everybody knows what the market is doing. We weren't ready. So we had to pivot, and we had to think outside the box. And luckily we knew the agent on the other side, and the sellers, and they were willing to also kind of come up with a solution.
Right.
So the solution for us was we needed a couple of months. You also needed to gain some capital. Another misconception is that you have to put 20% down. Like you have to do a conventional mortgage. It has to be 20% down. You have to fit into a box, and that's just not the case, right? We were able to find a box that fit into you instead of you fitting into the box.
Right.
And we worked with the mortgage person and was able to, guide you that way. We moved you in for a rent to buy, right? So
Right.
again, not typical. You rented for 6 months, and then we were able to negotiate, which is super important,
Right.
that rent back off the price,
Right.
right? So getting what you wanted, but also having the ability to leverage,
Certainly.
that was huge. So I think, so now you're in the house, right? Now you closed, yay.
Yeah.
And on a stress level from like 1 to 10, it had to be a 10, because I think we spoke almost every single day, you
Just
and
now,
I.
yeah.
But be honest, right?
That was incredibly stressful. I mean, just getting, the whole process was challenging. Again, first time doing it, but we got in, we finagled the rent to buy in, we moved in, but then it's,
Every
okay,
day, yeah.
now we gotta get the mortgage done, and we gotta get the credit up, and it did weigh on us a lot, but at the same time, on a 1 to 10, it was a 9. I would say that, and now it's done, and it feels good, and it's ours, which is pretty cool. But I gotta say, just as an aside, it's Stacy picked up the call every day when I called. Stacy made phone calls on my behalf. Stacy fought for us. Was when there had to be a bad guy in the situation, Stacy was happy to be the bad guy, and she really did. She fought for us the whole way, and I'll tell anybody that, by the way, and I do, is that having like an ally like Stacy on our side is really the only way I think this got done. There's not a lot of people who would think outside the box, especially when the market is going crazy and this thing's gonna move one way or another, and we got a rent to buy done. So, credit to you. Obviously.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Well, credit to you guys. So I'm just gonna pivot real quick, because I know in this whole turbulent market and time, and with COVID, you guys consistently rock the restaurant business. So I just want to know, like, what's your secret? Because restaurants are coming, they're going, they're everywhere, and I know because I'm like a foodie and I watch it all the time. But like, what would you say your secret is? Because you consistently, I just said, Taco Daddy is filled right now at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday, like, so what is that?
I think, you know, I'll speak to it, I guess, a little bit, but it, you know, for us, it's always been, just back it up and say, there's no worse time to be in our business than right now.
Right.
And I think, you know, despite, even with the new variants, this winter's been especially tough, not just on our restaurants, but on restaurants all across Stanford. You know, when gas prices go up, Stanford restaurants feel it. You know, they don't necessarily feel it in the surrounding communities, but they certainly feel it here. When expenses go up, restaurant budget typically goes away for people, or it gets limited to some degree. But for us, I guess, even though these times have been incredibly challenging, incredibly stressful, we've bet on and held ourselves to and our team to is we have to keep creating. We have to keep coming up with something new, even if it doesn't stick, even if it doesn't work. Continue to try new things. Continue to try to wow the guests, because especially in this climate, it's a lot easier to just stick to what you know and stick to what sells and stick to what your regulars want. And you know, if you stop creating though, and most of us are if we're in this business, if you stop doing that piece, it's depressing. You know, it's very limiting. It's a base level thing. Is when you're scared and you're nervous and you're down about what's going on all around us in our industry. When you stop creating, you basically are, you know, lack of a better term, you're killing yourself. You know, you're killing that piece, that spark that makes you special, that makes your restaurant great, that inspires your team, on and on. And you know, aside from that, our team. I mean, we have some of the best people in this area. We're fortunate to work with us on a consistent basis, and our partners that work with us, they're just super talented, super driven, and you know, they want to achieve cool things.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I think we've had a number of conversations surrounding that. Like, I agree, and I think the other thing that we try and consistently do is make the community feel like a part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because for us, loving Stanford as much as we do, and genuinely loving this community, you know, there is sometimes there's a little bit of a wall between the guest and the service being provided, or the hospitality, or whatever it may be. And you know, I love that I get to walk in and see people and ask, you know, how their move went, how their kids are, because we know them and they've become part of our little family here, and they will give us advice from drinks to food. They want to be a part of all of it. I mean, we've had people name cocktails, we've had people change ingredients and things, you know, like it becomes a
Community.
It becomes a community. It becomes a different thing when you make it collaborative with the people that you're trying to provide something for. But
I love it. So it's like what I hear, and when I first met you, it was immediate. It's a mindset of abundance. Like, there's no scarcity, and when you are at the top of your game, literally, there's no time for that. Like, it's always like, what's next? What comes
Sure.
next? And no matter what you're doing, right? And that's how you shine. Like, so any like little like insights to what's coming next? Anything exciting? Anything we should all know about?
We are very excited. We're on the cusp of announcing a new concept that we're doing in Stanford. We just have to iron out a couple more details on it. We're very excited. You'll be very excited by the cast of characters that are come with that project. Hopefully one other thing in Stanford too. We're kind of in beginning stages of that, but you know, look, for us, we live here. We've lived here for a long time. This is our city. We're proud to be part of Stanford. We're proud to live here. And we love cooking for the people of Stanford. I mean, if we did an expansion of, you know, either Taco or Lila, you know, that might make sense, but at the end of the day, it's a lot more fun for us to cook here and for these people who, you know, are excited to be a part of that too. And there's something different about this city than there is the surrounding towns. And you know, it's just been something really fun for us. Like, I tell this story all the time. When we did Fortina Stanford, which was a very hyped restaurant, about a year of marketing spent on opening that place. We put together an all-star team from our existing restaurants, the existing Fortinas. We had our best bartenders, our best chefs, our best cooks, everybody, wait staff. We were ready for this thing. And the first night, you know, we're open, we announce it. It was like zombie apocalypse to the front doors. Everyone poured out of the buildings in Commons Park and just ended up at our front door. And we're seating everybody and it's going smooth. And I was on, we had a service kitchen there, and I would expedite all the drinks and desserts and all that stuff. And the tickets are coming in and firing them out great. They're getting garnished, perfect, moving quick. Ticket times are 2 minutes. All of a sudden, they start getting missing tickets. They're missing drinks at this table. They're missing 8 drinks at this table. I'm going, I'm on the station. Like this is going fine. This is not right. Well, the POS system was totally shot, and half of the orders that were getting rung in weren't coming in. So I'm like digging out now. I'm super dejected. I'm super upset. And I turned to our manager at the time and I said, "So, how are the people?" He's like, "They're great."
Yeah.
What do you mean they're great? They're great. I'm working at Westchester. They're not great. They can't be great.
Yeah.
No, they keep saying like it's your first night. We understand. And it was at that moment I'm like, this is different. This is a different place. So I guess you asked new stuff coming. Yes, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming. Hopefully, we can get it all done in the next year or so. But
Amazing.
yeah, you'll be first to know.
Amazing. Thank you guys so
Yeah,
much.
thank you,
for
Stacey.
trusting me with your
Of course.
home purchase, and thank you for talking to me today, and I
Absolutely.
absolutely love you.
Thank you.
So, Lila Rose, Taco Daddy, absolutely my family and I's favorite place, and if you know anything about my family, you know we're foodies. So, thank you all, and